Anderson told the Johnsons he'd found evidence that Kendrick died as the result of a blow to the neck and not accidental asphyxia after slipping into a rolled gym mat at school, as investigators in Georgia had said. But what Dr. Anderson did not find shocked them.
When we got the body for the second autopsy, that organs, the heart, lungs, liver, etc., were not with the body.
The brain?
The brain, they were all absent.
Every organ from the top of Kendrick's head to his pelvis gone, and his family had no idea.
On the morning of January 11th, 2013, students at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia, noticed a smell coming from the gymnasium. It had been there for a day. Nobody had investigated it. When they finally looked inside one of the vertically rolled gym mats stacked against the wall, they found 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson. He was upside down. His body had been there for over 24 hours. And within 48 hours, the local authorities in Lowndes County had their explanation ready. Kendrick fell in while reaching for a shoe. Accidental death. Case closed. Except the case was not closed. Not for his family, not for the journalists who kept looking, and not for the federal investigators who would eventually open their own inquiry and spend years trying to understand how a healthy 17-year-old athlete ended up dead inside a gym mat at his own school, and why the answers kept changing. This is the story of Kendrick Johnson, and nothing about it is simple.
Kendrick Johnson was a junior at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, a mid-sized city in southern Georgia, close to the Florida border, the kind of place where high school football matters and everybody knows everybody. He was 17 years old, athletic, known around school, with a wide smile and a group of friends who described him as energetic and funny. He played soccer. He was active. There was nothing about Kendrick Johnson that suggested a young man who was struggling or in danger or anywhere other than exactly where he was supposed to be. On the afternoon of January 10th, 2013, Kendrick was seen on school CCTV footage in the gymnasium at Lowndes High. He was there during the school day. The cameras in that gymnasium captured him entering. They captured what happened after. And then, the following morning, January 11th, he was found inside a rolled mat, upside down, not moving. His body had been in that position long enough that the smell had begun to spread through the gym. The Lowndes County Sheriff's Office investigated and reached their conclusion quickly. Kendrick had climbed into the vertically stored wrestling mat, which was roughly 6 feet tall and hollow in the center, to retrieve a shoe that had fallen inside. He had become stuck. He could not get out. He died from positional asphyxia, the pressure of being trapped upside down in an enclosed space, cutting off his ability to breathe. That was the official finding. Accidental death. His parents, Kenneth and Jacqueline Johnson, did not believe it.
The first thing that did not sit right was the CCTV footage. Lowndes High School had surveillance cameras throughout the gymnasium. The footage from those cameras, which should have shown exactly how Kendrick ended up inside that mat, had gaps in it. Sections were missing. The county sheriff's office said this was a technical issue. The Johnson family said it was something else entirely. The second thing was the gym mat itself. The mats at Lowndes High were not soft foam cylinders with a wide opening. They were dense, tightly wound wrestling mats. The opening at the center was narrow. To get inside one head first and then become so stuck that you could not free yourself, even as a fit, athletic teenager, was something that investigators who examined the scene struggled to fully explain. But the thing that changed everything, the detail that turned a local tragedy into a national story, came later. when the Johnson family hired their own forensic pathologist to conduct an independent autopsy. What that pathologist found was not consistent with an accidental positional death. He found bruising on Kendrick's body, injuries to the face and neck consistent with blunt force trauma. And when he opened the body for examination, he discovered something that neither he nor anyone who heard about it afterward could easily absorb. Kendrick Johnson's internal organs had been removed, and the body cavity had been stuffed with newspaper.
This is the point where the story stops being a local Georgia case and becomes something much harder to understand. When a body undergoes a standard autopsy in the United States, the organs are examined and then returned to the body, or disposed of in a standard medical manner. They are not replaced with newspaper. That is not a procedure. That is not something that happens by accident or by standard protocol. The Lowndes County Sheriff's Office said the organs had been sent for toxicology testing, and that the funeral home that prepared the body had used newspaper as a filler, a practice they described as not uncommon in certain circumstances. The funeral home said they did what they were told. The county said everything was handled correctly. The Johnson family said their son's body had been tampered with, and that evidence of what really happened to him had been destroyed in the process. The United States Attorney's Office in Georgia opened a federal investigation in 2013. It ran for 2 years. In 2016, the Department of Justice announced it was closing the investigation without bringing charges. The statement said there was insufficient evidence to pursue a federal prosecution. Kenneth and Jacqueline Johnson have never accepted that conclusion. Part of what kept this case alive, beyond the family's refusal to stop pushing, was the CCTV footage that did exist. What the school cameras captured in the footage that was released showed Kendrick Johnson in the gym on January 10th. It showed him near the area where the mats were stored. What the footage did not clearly show was how he ended up inside one of them, upside down, with no indication of anyone helping him or harming him, or critically, with no clear window of time in which he could have climbed inside on his own without anyone noticing. The gym was not empty. There were other students present at various points during the period investigators examined. The presence of other people in that gymnasium, and the absence of anyone reporting seeing anything unusual, added another layer to a story that already had too many unanswered questions. Journalists from CNN spent months investigating the case in 2013 and 2014. Their reporting raised serious questions about the speed and completeness of the initial investigation, about the handling of the surveillance footage, and about connections between families at the school and local law enforcement. 2 brothers who attended Lowndes High School at the same time as Kendrick, whose father was an FBI agent based in the area, were mentioned repeatedly in connection with the case. Both brothers denied any involvement. Their father denied using his position to influence the investigation. Federal authorities reviewed this aspect of the case, and no charges were brought against anyone in connection with them at all. The questions remain unanswered.
What the Kendrick Johnson case exposes, and why it has not gone away in more than a decade, is the specific kind of dread that comes from a situation where all the official answers exist, and none of them feel complete. The county said accident. The family's pathologist said trauma. The county said the organs were handled correctly. The family said their son's body was tampered with. The federal government opened an investigation, ran it for 2 years, and closed it without charges. The CCTV footage that should have shown everything clearly had gaps. Every official process that is supposed to produce truth in a situation like this one was applied to the death of Kendrick Johnson. And at the end of all of it, nobody has been held accountable for anything. Nobody has been charged. Nobody has gone to trial. The county's finding of accidental death has never been formally overturned. Kendrick Johnson would be 28 years old today.
His parents still live in Georgia. They have never stopped speaking publicly about what they believe happened to their son. They have filed civil lawsuits, spoken at press conferences, sat across from journalists in living rooms and on television sets, and repeated the same thing for over 10 years. Their son did not fall into that mat by accident. Their son was killed, and the people responsible have never faced consequences. Whether you believe the official explanation or you believe the family, one thing about this case is difficult to argue with. A 17-year-old boy went to school on January 10th, 2013, and never came home. His internal organs were later found to have been replaced with newspaper, and not one single person has ever been charged with anything related to his death. In a country with school cameras, federal investigators, and a Department of Justice, that is the part that stays with you long after you close the tab, turn off the video, and go back to your day. It stayed with his family every day since January 11th, 2013. It should stay with the rest of us too.